Hello and welcome back to the Hockey Shed, brought to you by Galvanised Hockey. Now, for a clearly amateur presenter like myself, today's guest is a little bit intimidating because he also is a presenter, but he's actually very good at it. So much so that he's forged a career commentating and presenting on international sport. Welcome to the Hockey Shed to Dan Strange.
Thanks very much. It's great to be here, and thank you for the welcome. It's very complimentary, maybe a little over the top, but I'll take it.
Well, as someone who's got some globe-trotting background like yourself, I'm sure ticking the shed visit off your bucket list is a...
It had to happen. It was a must for 2018, definitely.
So obviously ourselves here at the Hockey Shed, we're pretty well connected and obviously know who you are. There may be a few viewers who need a bit of an introduction, so I thought we could start by telling everyone a bit about who you are and how you got into hockey.
How I got into hockey, 30 years this year I started playing hockey. I was Olympic inspired back in 1988. My 5th birthday party was an Olympics party, having watched it all in the summer of '88, and I went dressed as Sean Curley. So tells you exactly who it was who inspired me. It was watching Sean Curley score his goals. It was watching the BBC coverage of the Olympics, and to be honest, that got me into both hockey and commentary. And since then, it's just been sort of both alongside each other, not really deliberately sort of hockey and commentary together, just playing hockey and trying to get into commentary, and eventually the two kind of came together.
And in terms of the playing, you've mentioned Sean Curley as one of our, historically one of our best known strikers. You're a bit of a handy striker yourself. Where do you play at the moment? Do you still play? And what's your sort of hockey heritage?
Handy striker might be pushing it. I played under 18 Wales, under 21 Wales. I now play at Marlow, which I know you've got a bit of a Marlow heritage on the shed, what with Wardy coming on and Ross Bone as well. Both fantastic Marlow guys. And I know they've spoken about Marlow. It's a brilliant club. The guys are a fantastic group of people. It's just a really nice, positive place. Be a good family club. Really, really great place to play hockey. So I'm sort of tottering around up front for the ones as much as I can when work and my back allows me to. So occasionally score some goals. And we've had an okay season this year. Potentially not quite going to get where we want to with it, but that happens most seasons, sadly.
And you're the first guest we've had on the shed who's from our side of the fence is a sort of outwards looking in. We've had coaches, we've had players, we've had umpires. You're someone who actually looks at sport from the outside and commentates on it. So I think it's an interesting slant that you're going to bring to tonight. And you've talked about how kind of hockey and commentary have collided for you. How does one actually even start to get into commentary and presenting and things like that? If that was a chosen career path, where's that first step taken?
Bizarrely with me, it literally was a chosen career path. I was actually in a careers meeting at 15 at my school, and they said, "Oh, what do you want to do?" And I said, "I'd love to be a commentator." And the woman just looked at me and went, "I have not got a clue where to start with you. Just if you want to do that, go and try." And my parents were really supportive in that, and they said, "Give it a go, see what you can do." And I actually started in equestrianism. I grew up riding horses, my family did, and there were opportunities to commentate on that. And it's really good equestrianism in that way, because because it's amateur, there is chances, and they do sort of want to broadcast what's going on. And then you kind of just do free work, and you leverage the free work, what you've done, you sort of leverage onto the better jobs as you go through. It's a long slog, it's a hard slog, but then you start to get some good jobs. I've had some great jobs out in India. I do Euro Cup basketball in the UK. I used to do Premiership rugby. I've done Olympics and Paralympics. So it's ever evolving. It's hard to really define your end point. But it's been an interesting road. It's fascinating as a career, put it that way.
And obviously, if you're a striker playing hockey and you score 4 or 5 goals in a game, you probably get a sense that you're pretty good at what you're doing. When you're commentating, when you're not tripping up on your words like I tend to do, how do you get a sense of when it's going well and when it's going badly? And is it just a case of following the flow of the game or what's going on in front of you?
Yeah, I think I've always been very much into all sorts of sports. So I've kind of always been able to read different sports, which helps because I do numerous different sports. I've also grown up where my sister's an former international Paralympian. So I've sort of seen that side of it as well, and sort of seen what the top athletes are going through day to day. And that gives you an insight of kind of what is happening on the pitch and sort of what the players are thinking, and obviously playing a bit as well and playing junior international kind of helped me see what them players are doing, thinking, going through. Obviously I see what the umpires are thinking because I still play a bit and I've played for a long time, so I know what's going on within the structure of the game. So yeah, sort of analysis wise, you just look around it and you're looking for the reactions of people and the qualities within the game to try and bring the narratives out of it, because really that's what we're there to do, is look for the stories and try and bring it to life for people.
Is there a time when your sort of knowledge or kind of your anticipation of where the game's going to go ever thrown you a curveball? I'll give you an example. I've filmed a few matches for Galvanise myself, and quite often, more often than I'd like to admit, I'll be watching a player, for example Rick Mantell, who's about to do a pass down the pitch, and I'll go tight in on him and he'll do a slider pass that goes the complete opposite direction to where I've gone. And his body language is so good that he's completely sold me, and that's just as a cameraman. So I'm sure as a commentator there's probably similar sort of things going on the pitch where you kind of anticipate something's going to happen and it doesn't quite go that way.
Talking Rich Mantell first, my toes still haven't recovered from the years, what did I play, about 18 months at Reading in the twos, where basically we were training with Rich Mantell, Johnny Wyatt, players like that, and Rich used to regularly just smash me in the feet because he could, and he's, he probably, to be fair, he probably could have missed my feet if he wanted to, as you said earlier. Is that accurate? My toes really haven't recovered. But sort of, there are times when I suppose because you play the game, you see things almost before they've happened. I remember a Hockey India League example where Ashley Jackson was at the top of the D and I was the co-commentator, which is a completely different role for me because I'm normally lead commentator or presenting, so I'm normally sort of leading what's going on. So my lead commentator turned to me and said, "Write down what do you think is going to happen." And I looked at him and went, "Well, the goalkeeper's short, Jackson's got a good high flick, he's going to put it top left." And that's brave as a commentator to literally say exactly where it's going to go is brave. And he did. And the director, obviously you guys can't hear it on screen, but the director came in my ear and just went, wow, do that again. And I tried the next time and it totally went wrong. So you kind of you almost get into a full sense of security with that. But that's part of it.
I think with a player who's known for their deception like Ash Jackson was a hell of a gamble. Obviously, Hockey India League, that's got to be an experience in itself, doesn't it? I mean, you've played here in the UK. What is the most instant difference between looking at the league in the UK and that as an entity in itself?
The intensity within the Indian Hockey League, I think it's a massive bonus for HIL. It's only obviously a short, sharp league. It's normally six weeks, but they just managed to generate great interest out there. I mean, Bhubaneswar, which has just had the Hockey World League, the passion for hockey out there is amazing. You go to Ranchi and it's just the stadium's quite compact there, and it probably holds, I guess, about 12,000 people. But it's just a great place to go and watch hockey. It's really, really compact and enclosed, and sort of the players really close to the audience. And so just also, of course, the overall quality that they can attract because it's a short season and they can get the Gonzalo Payats in and Ash Jackson and Barry Middleton and, all the star players from around the world. I think it's just that level of quality, partly also because it's a short time. You get it over a short period, so you almost see the quality and it's really impactful. It's not a long drawn out season and you're not waiting for results. The results are happening very, very quickly.
And in terms of these crowds and that passion that's out there, I mean, Hockey India itself has had a relatively turbulent few years, and the team's probably kind of hanging on to the glory days of when they were competing against Pakistan and generally were the top two teams in the world. Where does that, obviously there's a good reason for people to sort of stop watching and be less inclined, but it's not like that. That passion is still there. It's still so strong. What are they doing right that keeps that, that huge crowds coming, even when, perhaps nationally the team isn't performing quite like they'd like it to?
I think Hockey India have done well with the Hockey India League to see it as an opportunity to try and take the sport forward, where it, like you say, a lot of hockey in India is harking back to the glory years and in how the new India team, and I'm talking about the men's team here, but the women are doing it as well, and sort of Harindra Singh's trying to go along the same sort of idea with the women, is they're trying to go, right, that was then, that was history, we're now going to be we're going to have kind of a new focus. And we've been really lucky in doing Asia Cup and then Hockey World League that we've kind of been given the brief to show that and bring that out. And so it's explaining that it's team-led, it's player-led. So Stuart Mariner, the head coach of India, basically has gone, right guys, what do you want to achieve? How do you want to do it? And he says, you're now responsible for what you want. So they now, obviously it's the build-up to the 2018 World Cup, and that, it actually genuinely, it feels like something really special that they're trying to build. Whether they get there, whether they manage to win the World Cup or not, we'll wait and see. But it's small margins at the end of the day as well. So I think with the way India is going, I think the Hockey India League is a massive asset for them and a real strength for them, because look at the young players that are now in the Indian team that have come through the Hockey India League. Your Dixan Turkis, your Suraj Karkira, Akash Chukti, the two goalkeepers, Harmanpreet Singh. Those sort of guys now, I mean, they'll be at the World Cup. Goalkeepers may or may not be, but the others will be. The outfield players should be, and be the sort of some of the stronger players within the Indian team. And there's not many countries in the world that could throw that many youngsters in like that. You know, having built them within such a strong league. So I think that's a real strength for the sport out there.
And obviously, if you're, a youngster watching and you've got your Gonzalo Payats and your Barry Middletons playing in your own country like that, it can't help but inspire the next generation to want to pick up a stick if they haven't already. And like you say, there is definite, does feel like there's a momentum growing there in that Indian side at the moment. And the subcontinental hockey, I think anyone will admit, when those guys are playing well, it's a beautiful thing to watch.
We went out to Dhaka for the Asia Cup, and I'd throw Malaysia into the mix on the sort of great teams to watch when they're on the day as well. They're an interesting team, Malaysia, because they're really developing quite nicely. But yeah, like you say, when the games are at the full intensity and they are good games, because sometimes you get a shocker, but then that's the same in anything. You could say that in any game. England Germany, it could be just a bad game. We did a few India-Pakistans out in Bangladesh, and that was really quite intense. It's great to see. It's a really good spectacle. And the skill level on show. I mean, Pakistan hockey's struggling at the moment, but still the skill level's there for everyone to see whether they're really performing as a team or not.
Yeah, it'll be great to see what happens. The World Cup's certainly an exciting prospect ahead of us. Talking of hockey in Malaysia, the GB squad will be out there for the Sultan Azlan Shah tournament coming up. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, reading Instagram, and it's the likes of Sam Ward and Liam Ansell who I've seen on there, it's warm, apparently. So they're Wardy was kind of complaining it's about 35 degrees, but when it's -3 here, he really needs to look at what the temperature's doing. Okay, exciting. I mean, for England, it's just a great chance for them to get out there and play the Aussies, who are, of course, world number 1 at the moment. Argentina are there from memory. India, as I mentioned, kind of India can be so exciting when they get it right. And I think they've recently been out to New Zealand, so they're going to have been they took quite an experimental squad out to New Zealand, the Indian team. So it'll be interesting to see how their squad develops on from that. But it's an exciting tournament. Like, it's brilliant that it's so regular and it's so high quality, and it's just a great chance. And for the likes of Malaysia to get, to play Australia and England and India and those boys every year, great chance. And they're an exciting. I like Stephen Van Huysen. I like the way he goes about his business. He's a lovely guy, the Malaysian coach, and he's setting up an interesting little team ahead of the World Cup. They're an exciting. They play exciting sort of on the front foot hockey. You've got some good players, Tenku and Faisal, good goal scorers. So Ireland it'll be an interesting one for them.
It's quite a coup to have a regular tournament like that on your doorstep for the Malaysian squad as well, isn't it? Because I mean, you're getting quality opposition coming over to you on a regular basis. It's
only going to improve you. I mean, I think from memory, the last time I looked, Malaysia were kind of just outside the top 10. So playing those sort of guys, and Ireland and England and people like that in Australia is going to push you forward. For Ireland, it's a great chance to get into that sort of level again and push themselves. they'll be looking at the teams they can turn over. You know, can they turn over Malaysia on their day? Almost certainly. Can they turn over England? It's happened. You know, so you know, it's good experience them all.
And obviously from the squad that's out there, the Commonwealth Games in the Gold Coast are just a stepping stone away, so it's a good sort of warm up.
Yeah, and of course for Australia, the news that Mark Knowles is retiring after the Commonwealth Games, so that for him, what's it going to be? Last couple of competitions, absolute legend of the game, and he's not only a legend of the game, great player, but goes about it the right way in how he responds and reacts and talks to the media. I've had the pleasure of interviewing Mark out in Bhubaneswar, and he's just sort of the sort of person that every international hockey player should aim to be like when sort of engaging with the media, because the stories, the way he puts himself across is just a great role model, a great example.
Presumably, a lot of time out there in India, you've probably got some amusing anecdotes. We're big fans of those here at the Hockey Shed. We like to get people to spill a few beans here and there if we can. Can I push you for
anecdotes? Well, yeah, I mean, we have a good old time out there. I mean, basically, we go around eating our way around. I mean, it's hard to explain it more than that. We just basically go from one restaurant to a hockey pitch to a restaurant to a hockey pitch. It's quite a nice life in that way. Good anecdotes, working with Anna Flanagan in the Hockey World League. Of course, it's hot out there. I'm presenting, I'm on screen, and like you sometimes get a bit warm and a bit flustered under the lights, and it's maybe 30 degrees, and so occasionally I'll have some mat on my forehead.
You can say makeup.
Makeup on the forehead. Makeup. It's mat. That's the technical word for it, you know. Anyway, so Anna comes over to me one day, and she's seen me applying this makeup on my forehead, and I'm trying to make myself look pretty, which took quite a long time. And Anna just walks over to me and goes, "Do you want to use my makeup brush?" And I was like, "No, Anna, I can't possibly use that." And ended up using Anna Flanagan's makeup brush, which I stupidly then told my family, because then my mother bought me a makeup brush for Christmas. I mean, we've had some time, you know. I think the major issue out there is the occasional times when like someone within the team gets unwell, because it happens. It's, you know, it's India, you're travelling. That can be quite hard work. You know, so we do have some interesting times. We're in Bangladesh, where we were an hour and a half each way to the ground in the car. Me and Cedric D'Souza, who we commentator and co-commentator, I never met before, or never really got to know each other. Met once before, but never really got to know each other before Bangladesh. And by the time we finished Bangladesh, we'd done 36 hours in a car in 12 days. So we kind of know each other quite well by now. So, you know, there's loads of different stuff goes on these things. They're quite long tours often, so you do we basically eat really well and travel around having a laugh.
And no funny tummies from the food out there, unlike some players.
I've been really quite lucky, and I know what happened in Bhubaneswar, and I thought the Germans were unbelievable with how they coped with what went on, and I've been lucky. I've had it once or twice. My first case was in Delhi, as I think everyone's first case of Delhi belly should be in the home place of Delhi belly itself. I remember I once was rather unwell on a plane, and the guy I was commentating with, a guy called Sahel Chandak, who's an Indian-based broadcaster, fantastic guy. He booked our seats on the flight. So he sat down with me. He said, "Right, mate, I know you're feeling unwell, so I've booked us seats right at the front of the plane, right near the loos." Brilliant, fab. So sat down, Jet Airways, sat down, and he's looked at me. He's gone, "I've noticed the issue." I said, "What's that?" He said, "The loos are at the back." so that was a difficult flight, but that's how it is out there. You accept that sometimes you're going to get that, but that could happen in England. I mean, it could happen anywhere in the world.
Your stomach's robust now. You're acclimatised. Yeah. Moving back over to the shores over here, English League is back well underway post Christmas.
Yeah.
Hotting up nicely. Are you keeping an eye on that? Is there any one team that you're sort of backing? Are you prepared to?
Oddly, I've got an affiliation currently in the English Premiership. I would have been a Loughborough fan really, because that's where I went to university. I know they've dropped out the Premiership now. Sevenoaks, purely because my old player coach at Wycombe, when I was playing at Wycombe, Duncan Parnis, has got them into the Premiership or Premier League, and I know they're well, they second bottom at the moment, 5 points. But great result for them to get into the Premier League. That's huge, really, for Sevenoaks. And for Duncan, who I know has worked very hard for a long time, you know, that's a massive tick in the box to get them up there. Obviously, Wardy will have a go at me because I'm not saying Beeston are going to run away with it, and he no doubt will be on at me when he sees this. You know, it's nice to see such a close battle between the likes of Beeston and Surbiton. I must say my affiliation does slightly sway towards Beeston, but that's purely because of Sam Ward. So.
Sure. I mean, it's what you said about Sevenoaks is really interesting. Is do you think that how do you think the club will benefit even if they end up getting relegated again from the Premier League? That experience, just spending a year up there, what value does that have for the club in terms of growing and inspiring, you know, young players to come along and join?
It's about profile, isn't it? I mean, it's the fact that Sevenoaks are, you know, their names appearing in the press when they're in the press, and you know they were in the indoor as well. They're getting seen out and about, and like you say, it's inspiring either young players in the local area to go along and join, or other people to go. It's attracting other people to go and see what it's about, be part of it in Sevenoaks. Which, you know, if it's all the same clubs all the time, you know, I mean, Premiership Rugby are talking about eventually going to, you know, locking in the top teams, never having promotion and relegation. As someone who's done Premiership Rugby and commentated on it, I've never really understood that, because I just don't think it will necessarily have the same romantic nature that having a relegation battle adds. And that, it's not always great for a club, because sometimes it can cause them issues and, you know, deplete teams, but sometimes it, like you say, it can attract people and give them some added profile, which is nice.
My last one, this isn't for myself. If there are any viewers who are sort of thinking, that sounds like a great career, I'd like to go and eat amazing food in India. I'd like to use Anna Flanagan's makeup brush. More importantly, I'd like to commentate on hockey, or I'd like to commentate on sport, and they're passionate about that. How does someone go about it? What's your top tips for them to start off in a career to follow in your footsteps?
There are genuinely two ways. One is going and work in a production company, sports production.
To take some notes.
Go down that. You should go. You know, that's one route, and then see where you get. It's high risk. You might never get the chance to, you know, get behind a microphone, get on the screen, whatever. Works for some, doesn't work for others. My way of doing it was go completely freelance, and as I mentioned earlier, kind of leverage one from the other. So your best thing you can do is get out there and offer yourself out for free to get work experience. I did loads as a kid. Weakest Link, I was on the first ever, not literally on it, but I was doing work experience on the first ever week of the Weakest Link with Anne Robinson. She's a lovely lady. Quite scary but lovely. Thanked me for the water I gave her, and then just kind of gradually get more and more experience and just see where it takes you. Because what it'll also do, gaining experience obviously helps with a lot of things, but it will show you what you like and what you dislike. So you might work out that you don't want to go down the football route, you want to go down the rugby route or the hockey route or whatever, and it gives you and also it opens up your eyes to opportunities you may not have ever known were there. You know, you may decide not to go into commentary, you might want to go in and work in a TV company anyway, but in the background. So it kind of just getting that level of experience, and ask for people's advice. I'm constantly asking for people's advice. It's horrific how much advice I ask for. People now, it's nice because people do sometimes ask me for advice, which I never have an issue giving, because it's quite nice to actually finally give some back, having asked some quite big names for advice.
Brilliant. Well, thank you so much for braving the blizzard outside to come and join us in the shed today. I think it's been really interesting having someone again from the other side of the fence giving us their perspective of the sport that we love. So thanks so much for coming down.
Absolutely.
Appreciate your time. Thank you all for watching. We'll see you again next time on the Hockey Shed.